Guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggty on behalf of StarCastTV. Up right in corner, we have Hero starting as the purple Zerg. Bottom right in corner, we have Larva starting as the brown Zerg. Should be a fun one. Hero, great player, is really just masterful versus Protoss. Larva, quite the character. I feel like Larva has sneakily strong ZvZ. I don't think it ends up showing in his just straight up statistics, but even his losses seem really hard fought. And often, I don't know, when I see him lose his EVZ, it's because of just like a quick build order sneak advantage, something where just, I don't know. Point being, Larva, I feel like he either wins it, or you just have to do a lot of fighting to stick in the match. But quite the character. I enjoy Larva. Very creative guy. Between the two, I think I'm going to favor him overall. Looks like we're seeing a 9-pool upper right-hand corner for Hero. This is a 4-player map. So even with that 9-pool, it is possible to sneak a 12-hatch and survive, potentially. But not if the Overlords end up spotting each other, which it looks like they are. So Hero going to take the aggressive stance initially. And it looks like we're at least seeing an overpool. So theoretical build order advantage to Larva to start. Hero can adjust. And I've seen some adjustments where it's just, you know, straight up play defensive, go for the earlier gas, earlier layer, and go from there. But we'll see what he opts to do at the very least. Gas going down a little bit later here for Larva. 9-pool, you get at least that gas advantage. 6 Zerglings being built. We'll see if Zergling speed is built by Hero. I think that is one advantage that you can kind of sneak in the matchup. Larva going to go ahead and grab that natural expansion to get that overall Larva advantage. Appropriate for the top number 1 Zerg. Initial Zerglings being produced. And yeah, we're going to see a skip of Zergling speed, immediate tech towards layer. Overlord's going to see those Zerglings making the way out. 4 Zerglings in production thus far. Should have more and not too long, but right now Hero wants to go ahead and delay Larva and try to get that, force him into defensive position, get that Mutalisk advantage. As far as follow-up tech, first 4 Zerglings going to defend. They just need to buy time. Hero going to get the free damage on that hatchery. 6 Zerglings now making the way out. Better concavity there for Larva initially, so they're going to just try to peek in between. Thinking about shooting, threatening to shoot that gap to force a bit of micro. 2 additional Zerglings going to join the fray on both sides to keep that count just about even. Actually, even 2 more on top of it. Hero now backing off as Larva attacking forward. Those Zerglings getting a little bit spread out. So he might do an end around once these are rejoined. Yeah, hiding, waiting for the concavity, jumping, trying to re-engage that trap. Zergling speed is being produced. Spire already on the way. No movement towards the layer as of yet, so this Spire is going to be way ahead of Larva's Spire. So Larva, if he's going to stay in this match, needs to... Oh, I like these sneaky Zerglings pocketed there to the 3. So if Larva's going to stay in this match, it's possible he could just go for overwhelming Zerglings to try to keep that Mutalisk count lower. Or he's going to need to opt to shift to the Evolution Chamber to play a more defensive style. Hero with Zerglings defending the main, potentially just to make sure that he gets the initial Mutalisks out, is behind in Larva, but just 1 worker behind. And as I say that, Larva going ahead and morphing additional drones. The Zerglings pressing forward with speed online, finding that wall there. And this could be really bad, actually, because that Spire could finish. These Zerglings, if they're not able to break through, could just be fodder for Mutalisks coming out. Although I think the initial target that's going to be favored is the Overlord. Overlord's tracking Overlords there to the north to make sure that's going to be a quick and easy kill. 2 Zerglings from the 3 o'clock location stuck to the natural, but it looks like they're cleaned up fairly rapidly. Larva dropping that Evolution Chamber and that Creep Colony to go into a more defensive style. Initial Mutalisk being produced. Oftentimes from this position, having the Mutalisk advantage and just the earlier tech ends up being more favorable 9 times out of 10. But Larva, again, is one of those players that he's just damn near impossible to kill. So Overlord gonna get wiped out. Zerglings actually pressing forward, kind of hiding. I think they're hoping those Mutalisks are gonna go cross corner, so he might be able to disrupt this natural expansion sooner rather than later. Single Zergling confirming that natural expansion being built online. The Mutalisks, yeah, making their way across. So this might give an opportunity for these Zerglings to sweep through and attack that natural. Spore colonies already in defensive positions at that natural and the main. Second spore colony coming online. However, an Overlord a little bit out of range. The Zerglings diving into that natural expansion could force a cancellation right here. Big win. Now the Zerglings coming across. Yeah, forcing a cancellation right there. That's going to be a lot of minerals lost. And some additional Zerglings able to shoot the gap and get into the main. So Hero going to have some economic disruption on top of economic disruption from Larva. And Larva doing the nice moves to get right back into this. The Spire not yet finished. But now he's got all sorts of workers. Might be able to put an in-base third hatchery. He's got the spores in the defensive position he needs. He's kept that natural expansion down, which would have been a big win for Hero. So Hero getting a little bit lackadaisical. Larva keeping that from building. So it's going to be a 5 Mutalisk lead. Sorry, a 7 Mutalisk lead. But honestly, that's not insurmountable by any means. Mutalisk looking to go ahead, now that they have sufficient numbers, to suicide in and take some of these drones out, actually getting some decent drone kills. Scourge there. Maybe looking to shoot the gap. So a big Mutalisk advantage, again, for Hero right now. The Spire is up for Larva. Scourge going to connect. So now we've just got 6 Mutalisks are on the board. Hero moving his Zerglings out on the map. Unfortunately, they're getting inferior number counts. It looks like some more Scourge able to land, but not able to get Mutalisk kills there. The Spire is up, and now Larva finding room. He's got double gas. He's got the 2 hatcheries. Can just start filling in his Mutalisk count. And still pressuring with the Zerglings towards that natural, forcing these Mutalisks to stay at home. Scourge getting picked off there. A single Zergling wandering down, finding the initial 3 Mutalisks there for Larva. No third hatchery as of yet. Single drone lead for Larva currently. Supply counts dead even. However, 8 Mutalisks out in the air, and I think it's just a superior amount of Zerglings here for Larva. So needs to preserve those. Unfortunately, getting a lot of them caught midfield. Mutalisks, actually Larva taking an inferior amount of Mutalisks. Gonna go ahead and dive into Hero's main and shoot the natural expansion with the Zerglings. So trying to preoccupy that attack force. Able to catch some kills there. And do some decent economic disruption. Able to get, it looked like 3 drone kills, so now he's going to be up 14 to 17, still behind in the overall Mutalisk count. Loses a Mutalisk for his effort, though, and he needs to preserve those to try to even things up. More Mutalisks being built on his side of the map. 3 drone lead for Larva. Still needs to try to find some space. Is he just going to suicide these Scourge in? Doesn't land. So inferior air fleet currently. But was able to get some good economic disruption. +1 Carapace now online for Hero. So not only does he have superior Mutalisks, he's also got that +1 armor. Hero filling out some Larva there. Feeling like he's in a comfortable enough position where he can expend those troops, but Larva pretty close to catching up here in the Mutalisk count. Unfortunately, with that Carapace upgrade, Hero's still going to maintain that advantage. Also, he has Scourge on his side of the map. Hero And Larva now even straight up in supply. The Zergling shooting that gap once again. Scourge getting across, able to connect. And Zergling somehow able to get through all of that mess and again disrupt Hero's supply lines. That's going to put Hero down a drone over Larva. And with that, all of a sudden, 10 Mutalisks versus a full control group for Larva. Still back on Carapace. So waiting for that Carapace upgrade to kick in. +2 Carapace being morphed. Scourge just kind of mirroring each other. Still an overall Scourge lead for Hero, at least, out on the map. Filling out, I think he's got one over a full control group of Mutalisks now. But Larva's still up a worker, and I think he's basically dead even in the Mutalisk count. And as I say that, I'm looking at Hero. Yeah, supply count's just about even. Larva filling that in a little bit more with drones. And keep in mind, there's the Scourge difference as well. So deduct this amount of Scourge of supply. You can do the math from there. I'm not going to do it in my head right this second while trying to commentate this game. But the fleet is growing. Single Scourge going to go ahead and peek in, try to get a look at that drone line and count. Sees just the 5 drones there. This Scourge trying to do the same on the opposite side. It doesn't, I don't think with those spore colonies in the way, it was able to get the same level of scouting information. Larva, all of a sudden, with the supply count lead, as his Carapace level 1 going to come online. So there is going to be a window for him here of not that long before Carapace 2 comes online, where he might be able to engage some fights and equalize things a bit. He does have the superior air defense with those spores at the natural. Looks like he's going to try to grab this 6 o'clock location. That has yet to be scouted. I think that's another thing those Scourge might have done for Larva on that sweep. Hero getting more Mutalisks out in the air. Some of the Scourge being cleaned up midfield. If this 6 o'clock location comes online and there's no response from Hero, Larva will take the advantage. Here right now, with a significant Mutalisk lead, +2 Carapace, looking to force a fight. With the spore colonies at the main, Larva might be able to equalize things with some decent micromanagement, but right now, the Mutalisk not engaging heads up. He's going to be able to take one spore out immediately. The Mutalisk trying to back off. They're going to fan back out and engage wholesale. Mutalisk counts plummeting on both sides. But it looks like Hero is just with that level 2 Carapace, 2 superiors, some Scourge floating in, trying to get some additional damage. Another spore being dropped as Larva trying to equalize things, now microing against that corner. Still a full control group versus a full control group. And Hero going to go just back out, but he's got a considerable supply lead now. Going to sneak back in, try to reforce that issue. Try to keep that gas down so he can maintain that gas advantage. 6 o'clock base is online, but he is not yet mining gas. Hero currently with a gas lead, with a Larva lead, and with a worker lead. Actually, ignore the Larva. He's got a lead over Larva. Second spore coming online. That might be enough for Larva to go ahead and defend. Gonna re-grab that gas. Hero taking that 3 o'clock base. Scourge is not yet scouted that 6. And some Overlords now taking some free damage. Larva on his heels here. And somehow snuck out a grouping of Mutalisks to draw the rest of those Mutalisks back. Is going to get a lot of drone kills. Has dropped Hero down to just 10 workers, and now is just going to split the rest of his Mutalisks. That cost him, what, 2 Mutalisks? And he's just going to retreat with what he's got left. With 3 gas mining, if he gets a spore up here, might be able to equalize that count. A single Zergling going to sneak into the 6 o'clock base. Find it online. Hero moving everything there to go ahead and wipe that out. The Mutalisk trying to rush to that location. Drone's able to take out that Zergling. The Spore Colony not yet online. 2 Mutalisks splitting off to counterattack. Hero backing off. Another Zergling sneaking in. Gonna find the Mutalisks there. And Hero now looking for a gap in the defenses. Huge supply lead. Engaging that Spore, wanting to take that down. Some latent splash, going to be able to potentially take out some drones as well. Wiping out that gas at the main. Mutalisks engaging Mutalisks. Level 2 Carapace versus level 2 Carapace, but Hero has the overwhelming Mutalisk force. For the moment, the Spire under fire. And Larva just going to, well, it looks like he was going to go for a counterattack. Hero actually exiting with the Mutalisks rather than finishing that Spire off. Wanting to engage. Was maybe worried about a bait. Not sure what the concern was there. But exiting. 3 o'clock base coming online. He's going to be able to get that third gas up and running. Much larger Mutalisk force. Huge worker lead for Larva in a ZvZ matchup. The Mutalisk's going to... looking to dive in once again. The Mutalisk's on completely out of position. A bunch of Scourge trying to land. It looks like one of them landed, but they're getting very favorable fights. Now Scourge there for Hero as well. Scourge coming from both areas. It looks like Scourge getting wiped out and Overlord going to get wiped out midfield. Hero still maintaining the economic macro lead. 3 o'clock base up and running. Is going to mine his gas there. Level 1 weapons also online for his Mutalisks. 6 o'clock base has been there for Larva longer, but hasn't been able to turn that into an overall lead. Both players in the red as Overlords were picked off right this second. Mutalisks engaging, wiping out the gas at the 6 o'clock. Larva going for a counterattack at that third, eating a lot of Scourge hits. Drones exiting. Larva just going to press the issue, eating more Scourge hits. And that might have been it. All of those Scourge doing catastrophic damage, and he was already at a disadvantage. He's going to clear out some drones again. But now these Mutalisks mostly trapped and potentially going to get wiped out. But as I say that, there was a split of Mutalisks that looks like at the main as well. So split attack force wiping out all of the drones. So Larva, with the huge Mutalisk lead, needs to very rapidly do some damage to equalize things. Right now he's hunting Mutalisk down. If Larva can use this time to rebuild his air force, and it looks like he is going to be able to exit with these 5 Mutalisks to the south. So Hero needs to go for a big counterattack and at least do some equivalent economic damage, because right now he's down 10 workers. He's going to be able to find this Overlord midfield. He's up 10 supply. Keep in mind that 10 supply is also minus some workers midfield, eating some Scourge damage though midfield. Some Mutalisks again going for a backstab. 6 o'clock base exposed, 2 spores there. The Mutalisk fleet not there. So the spore's going to get wiped out. The 6 o'clock base looks like it's just going to get ransacked. Larva scooting in some Zerglings to go ahead and engage that 3 o'clock. Is just going to use what he has to try to counterattack. Is still down in the overall Mutalisk count. 6 o'clock base left standing, but not mining. 2 Mutalisks moved out here, but I'm not sure. I assume they must have gotten obliterated. Some Zerglings able to sneak into the natural, get some additional damage done, and Larva, like I said, is just really hard to kill. Mutalisk now re-engaging. Gonna go ahead and wipe out this 6 o'clock base. However, the Mutalisks going to try to re-engage and take out what's left of the main. Huge amount of Scourge engaging, however. Scourge able to wipe out the Mutalisks that are left, but that's buying time. Hero all of a sudden with the worker lead, which immediately shifted as I say that. And the Mutalisks finally getting hunted down. Again, resetting the Mutalisk count and keeping Hero with that air superiority. And Larva with that, gonna call it his last hurrah. And GG, as he had nothing left, and there was still a full control group left for Hero to do whatever he wanted on the map. But I tell you what, Larva, yeah, he's a tricky one, hard to kill. Regardless, Hero is victorious. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.